Hi all, welcome to another episode of This Cycling Life Bytes. Today we have another very special guest that you all may know already, a very familiar face, Laura Meseguer. For me, she's been a very good cycling journalist for a long time now. So and close to me here in the north of Spain, in the Basque Country. Laura is down a little bit further south in Madrid. But I'll hand it over to Laura to introduce herself personally.
Hi, Alan. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you going?
Very good. Long time no see. Very happy to see you again.
Well, we'll get straight into it here, Laura. Just tell us. I'll take it back a little bit. I've known you now for quite a little bit of time, but just tell the audience, where you grew up, how you grew up, and what sparked you to get involved with the sport of cycling.
Well, first of all, I didn't have any background in cycling in my family. I remember my grandfather used to watch the Tour de France, but that moment we were all my cousins and everyone, we go outside to the pool. So it's not that I used to watch it. And then we moved to Argentina and to Chile. So I came back here when I was 13 years old, and then, well, I studied in the university, media studies, and I never thought about working in sports, actually. I wanted to work for photography in cinema. I don't know how to say it in English. Dirección de fotografía is in Spanish. But then I was working in a company, and the company sponsored La Vuelta a España in 2007. So I came back from holidays and they told me, we have to go to this event. And so every day you have to write the story about what happened and so on. So I didn't know nothing about cycling. Actually, I didn't know which kind of event it was, it was like crazy. Like, why we have to change every day from one hotel to the other? And well, really, really strange when you don't know well the sport, So, but it was nice because you have the opportunity to have the cyclists so close to you. I mean, you can ask them, like, what is this about? What are you doing riding every day for 3 weeks for more than 160 kilometers? Or how come you are injured and you are still competing? It's something that is very basic for someone that is a cycling lover, but for someone that didn't know about the sport, it's like really impressive, So I fall in love of the sport, just like that. And so I decided it was the beginning of the crisis in Spain, and this company was a construction company. So it was difficult time. So I decided to stay there, but to start going to the races, at least in Spain, to learn more about the sport. And after that, I left the company. I started as a freelance, and well, it's been a long way, but I'm so happy about how it went at the end.
Yeah, awesome, fantastic. I suppose in 2007, this moment when you're discussing, I suppose you became, and you've seen another dynamic to the sport as well by being at the Vuelta day by day, going to the different hotels, to the different stages. Mm-hmm. You've seen it from a whole different perspective as what you would have maybe before on a TV, right?
Absolutely. And also when you are inside, what I like the most of my job and to be involved in this environment, or to be part of this environment, is that everyone is so passionate about what he's doing. I mean, the journalists, the writers, of course, the guy that is, in the control of the Tour de France, for example, in the access, or, the staff of the team. Everyone loves so much what they are doing. And that's so difficult to find in other kind of job or in other dimensions of life, that it's really what attracts me the most to my job or to this sport.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like we've spoken about it with my teammates and colleagues, work colleagues over the years. It's kind of like a traveling circus that just, everyone's got the riders, you got the soigneurs, you got the journos, you got, we're all together really in one big family traveling around the world in this one big circus, putting on a show. So it definitely has a special feeling and ambience to the sport. Okay, I'll get on to my next question here that I'm really interested about. Recently, you brought out your book, Metiendo, Codos. Could you tell us a little bit about the book and how that come about?
Of course. I don't know how to say the expression in English. Maybe you can help me. Metiendo codos in English. How do you say it?
Yeah, being an ex-sprinter, I know this one really well. So basically, putting your elbow in is basically metiendo codos, putting your elbows.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's the name of the book, because this book is about like the greatest Spanish generation that it will end with Valverde if he retires one day. But before in Spain, the culture, it was a lot about the Tour de France, you know, and cycling was busy looking for the next Miguel Indurain. And this generation, Metiendo Codos, they made a space for themselves in different scenarios. We had Oscar Freire in the World Champions and in the classics, Milan-San Remo and some others, with a green jersey at the Tour de France. And also we had Valverde, Purito Rodriguez, that they have won so many one-day races and one-week races, you know, and it has enriched the Spanish culture in cycling. And they are very, very important for Spanish Spanish cycling. And also it was because this generation there was like a big amount of young talent, so we had a lot of talent after this I don't know how to say it, this generation of amateurs. It's not the same now. As you know, we don't have that many riders in the amateur field anymore. But yeah, it's about that. It's about that greatest Spanish generation.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I mean, you know, I signed with ONCE in 2003. Personally, I was in Italy before that, going through the amateurs, like you mentioned, with the Australian national team, and then came over in 2003 and basically lived that generation until I retired in 2013. But I remember, you know, arriving at ONCE and obviously knowing the riders before, you know, that 90s era going into, you know, the early 2000s, what they did, the Gelaberts, the Zulas, you know, Benesto with obviously with Miguel Indurain. But, you know, going to ONCE, my sports director was Marino Lejarreta. And I was really getting, you know, that era before that as well, you know, it was a bit before my time, but really getting to know these really big Spanish and, you know, Northern Basque champions that created, you know, a legacy within the sport. And then we had this really big run, obviously through the 2000s and to recently with, like you mentioned, you know, Purito was my teammate as well there. We had, you know, Valverde, Alejandro still going, Alberto Contador, you know, just to name a few. And then obviously we had the classic side of things with in the World Championships with Oscar. So, you know, the Spanish cycling has had a really good couple of decades, so to speak. Yeah, but I'm sure, you know, I'm sure with the amateur scene, I know it's quite strong up here in the north, in the Basque Country. You know, a lot of the teams are here. You know, I'm sure it'll keep generating future champions. I'm sure, especially climbers, maybe suffer a lot. But I mean, you started to do a bit of cycling. I see on the ergo mainly on the home trainer. What's cycling for you? How does it intertwine with your daily schedule?
Well, 2 years ago, more or less, Liv sent me a bike so I could start riding, but I had a baby. So since 2 years ago, the bike was waiting for me at home. And with this lockdown, with this quarantine, we had the home trainer, which my husband used very often. So I decided to give it a try. And well, I have to say that the first 3 days I suffered a bit. Also, it's not very comfortable, the position and everything when you are not used to it. But I hope I can enjoy it with the time. But so my idea is to at least 3 days per week, or half an hour, 1 hour. Let's see. But I think it's very healthy and very good exercise.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and also in Madrid is complicated, I think, to find the time also to ride your bike and to go outside, and also it's a big city. So well, I have to do it like that, and now that we don't have the gym also to go and do some exercise, I think it's a good way to keep in on shape, and yeah. So yeah, it's fun. It's been fun. Now that I don't have more pain, pain is gone. So now I'm kind of enjoying.
Yeah, I can understand. I mean, during this cycling life concept that we've created, my co-hosts Michael Rogers and Jamie Anderson, we speak a lot to our audience about how we juggle, cycling, our passion for cycling, our families, our careers, all in one. And you definitely come into this basket, as a leader within your journalism career. Do you think that obviously through the coronavirus pandemic that we're living, indoor cycling has been very popular? Do you think it's changed and it's going to be definitely an easier introduction into your life moving forward? For example, the accessibility to be able to get on the home trainer at any time of the day that fits in with with Barb, your family, your work. How do you think the future looks for indoor cycling and for you in particular?
Well, I think it's been a boom, as you said. I mean, it's a reality, and I think it's a good option. I saw that it was there were no home trainers left in the shops, so I think almost everyone that likes to ride, they have a home trainer at home, so it can be a good option also if we are back to a normality where we don't have time for anything. So yeah, speaking about professional cycling, I think it's gonna stay as a backup plan, let's say, in case. No, let's hope this doesn't happen anymore. But well, something interesting also for sponsors that they can use from time to time, maybe at the end of the season, who knows? But I think it had helped a lot, not only for amateur cyclists like me, but also, to professionalism for the teams, for the riders, for, to keep the business going.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's one thing that I really, you yourself, you work for Eurosport, and I was sitting back as a fan of cycling and sport in general, and it wasn't really spoken about. But cycling, we had through Eurosport and the virtual worlds, there was only, you could count on one hand that the sports around the world, Olympic sports, that were able to put on a live event. Cycling was one of them globally through these different platforms that I mentioned. So that in itself is very interesting, I think, for the sport, moving forward, and just being able to create a live race where it's around a volcano. What we were watching, I think it was looking at it from different angles. It's definitely something interesting, and I think you guys at Eurosport did a really good job.
Yeah, and we had the Tour of Flanders and so many other events, but and not only virtual races. I think the bike is gonna play a key role now when we're back to normality. I mean, I think it's a good opportunity for people to take their bikes to go to work or to move in the city. And let's hope, in Spain, we don't have that tradition. So I think it's a good opportunity now. And let's hope politicians will take it. Let's see. But yeah, in this crisis, the bike proved to be a good vehicle to keep in shape at home, but also to have like a healthy environment when we are back to normality. Let's
Yeah,
hope.
yeah. Well said. That's exactly right. That's definitely a positive for cycling in general moving forward. I think for sure. I'll just keep going forward a little bit with the questions here, Laura. What's next? What's next for you?
What's next for me? So normally I will, well, we will be presenting the TV show from Eurosport Spain called La Montonera on during the Giro, the tour, sorry, and the Giro, and I will be in La Vuelta a España on site. And after that, I will keep promoting my book and keep writing for different magazines. And so basically, I think it's gonna be the busiest last part of the year in many years, because normally we are relaxing October and it's gonna be completely the opposite. But I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be a very well, a welcome busy end of the year, especially for us involved with my obviously my UCI job as a technical advisor, especially the Vuelta. As we go through the phases, we'll be able to go back to our normal reality jobs and getting back to getting this beautiful sport on the TVs and the wheels turning on the roads. Laura, I'm not going to take too much more of your time. Thank you for joining us on this Cycling Life today.
My pleasure.
It's an absolute pleasure, to speak to you again. It's been a while, but thank you for joining us.
Thank you, and congratulations for this great show and for the initiative as well.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. I mean, guys, if you can give us a thumbs up, share what we do. We're getting a lot of feedback from around the world, and we're able to interview great people like Laura, and there's some more content coming. So stay tuned, and thank you.
Thank you. Bye.